Earth's mightiest heroes must come together and learn to fight as a team if they are going to stop the mischievous Loki and his alien army from enslaving humanity.
Welcome to the Walt Vault with
Michelle,
Andre,
Luis,
and me, Emily. We're a family-friendly podcast where we pick a new Disney movie each week. We watch it, share our thoughts, and then relate it to pop culture, fandoms, and anything else that pops into our heads. Enjoy!
Hello and welcome to the Walt Vault, episode 37.
wow.
We are in the middle of our Marvel month, and this week we are talking about 2012's, directed by Joss Whedon, Marvel's The Avengers.
Boom!
Da-da-da-da-da. That's not the right song.
Bum ba-dum, bum ba-na-na-na. Okay, wrong movie.
That was The Incredibles.
No, it was Indiana Jones.
Oh, I thought you were going dun 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 dun.
Oh, it could have been that too. No.
Man.
All of our superhero movies
Yeah.
are starting to blend together,
I
guys.
know. It's so...
Specifically musically. Yes, this week we're talking about The Avengers. This was the
first team-up movie.
This is the first team-up movie, but this is also the first movie distributed by Walt Disney Studios.
Hey, that's cool.
So technically, all of the movies before the
Or
Avengers
Paramount, right?
were distributed by Paramount. Yes.
This one said in association with Paramount Pictures.
Yes, because this was a part of Paramount's original deal where they had like the first 5 Marvel movies or something like that they were going to distribute, but then Disney bought Marvel and it was like, we're going to put our name on this one too.
So,
Gotcha.
hi.
Thank you.
Disney was like, bing.
Yeah, Paramount didn't really actually work.
And then Disney just got to put their name on it now because they bought it.
Yes.
So there.
Disney owns everything.
Not
I'm actually-
everything. They don't own Fox yet.
Yet.
Yeah.
As of this recording, they don't
As of
own
this
Fox.
recording, and I'm not even upset that Disney owns everything.
It's whatever. So let's go into first impressions. Luis, what is your first impressions of the original Avenger movie?
I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, wow, this is so cool. But having seen it repeatedly, it hasn't changed my opinion. It is a cool movie.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it still holds up.
Yeah. I'm a little bit lost at first how the whole idea of the Avengers was kiboshed. I would have liked a little bit of an input on that.
You mean like the Avengers Initiative originally?
Yeah, how it was kiboshed. Like I kind of
Like how it came to be?
No, because
Or why they stopped
they
it?
kiboshed it.
Yeah.
It was not going to happen. I would have liked to see like maybe an intro scene on it to where the council tells Fury it's not going to work. Let's move to
Right.
something else. Let's move to phase 2.
Well, you know that council's all Hydra, so of course they didn't want it to happen.
Not all of them were Hydra in that
You don't
council.
know that. You don't know.
we
were
see
corrupt.
We see them in Captain America: Civil War,
Yeah, they were
Yes.
corrupt.
or not Civil War, Winter Soldier.
Well, not yet,
Excuse
though.
me. Right.
Not
well,
all
Not
of them.
as of this movie. No.
We don't know if they're
They're-
corrupt yet.
in this movie, there are Hydra agents
Right,
within
right.
Shield.
Yes, but we don't know.
But we don't know that. No,
No.
the audience does not know that.
No.
as
I
of-
know the Japanese
as of
dude
this
and the
movie.
British lady were not Hydra.
Maria is not Hydra. Anyways, Andre, what is your first impression?
Similar to Louise, when I saw this movie, I was blown away. The greatest crossover that's ever been crossed over from other things. It's so awesome to watch all these heroes who had been heroes of their own movies meld together into this one big movie, and it's still pretty cool watching it now. Me likey. First impression, me likey.
Me like you. When I saw this movie, I was a freshman in college, and I don't think my Marvel nerdiness had really started yet. I didn't like Iron Man. I never saw The Incredible Hulk. I did like Captain America, but I didn't see that movie until after The Avengers.
Okay.
So I was a little bit all over the place. So it's a great movie. I love The Avengers now. Obviously, I'm pretty obsessed. But my first impression of this movie is that they all look like babies.
Yep.
They're babies.
I literally have Stark is all brown at one point because, in all the
Chris
other...
Evans is a baby.
Oh yeah,
in
in
this
subsequent movies they get like gray in their hair and
Yeah.
stuff. No, they look like children.
Yeah,
which is
they look like
funny.
And this movie
children.
only came out 6 years ago.
And
Nah,
Chris
it
Evans
came out
even-
25 years ago. It feels like
Captain America even acts like a child in this. He doesn't know what any technology is.
Yeah.
He's a baby, man.
Yeah.
Saw
That
The
was
Wizard
my
of
first
Oz.
impression. So it was whatever. It was nice going back and being like, oh man, yeah, that's how it started.
Yeah.
And it was still a mess.
Okay, my first impression is that I'm not going to go with my initial first impression because I remember watching this. I think I bits and pieces watched it at one point and was very uninterested in it because I didn't understand the characters. So
Right.
I didn't know what was going on, so I thought it was ridiculous. And I very distinctly remember watching it for the first time at Luis's house when we were dating in his parents' house on this like small TV, and I'm pretty sure we were watching it in Spanish with English subtitles.
Cool.
It was just like a thing, right? And I just looked over at him and was like, excuse my French already, like, is this just a huge pissing contest? Like, just, and
Yeah.
I remember the scene specifically where they're in the lab, right?
Oh, God.
And they're just like getting all mad at each other.
Arguing.
And because I didn't have any context, I literally thought it was so stupid.
Right.
Because, like, why are they so, like, up in arms and stuff? Anywho, and I thought Thor was stupid. I remember vividly saying, Thor is so stupid. Okay, whoa, I'm going to take it all back. You should see
Well,
me.
you know, at first he was kind of dumb and stupid.
Yeah.
He's better now.
Yeah, I'm taking it back though. So my first, I'm doing a new first impression as of this viewing because this is like I have my Marvel knowledge and I really care about the characters now. Me likey. I will go with an Andre phrase.
Two me likeys.
Me likey
Very
as well.
I very much enjoyed it, and I will say that I wrote down like 4 pages of notes because I was like, this movie, once you understand all of the context, is very well written.
Right.
Very well written, and it actually has some of the better acting than other Marvel movies. So
Sure.
I was like really happy with it. So me likey. Boom.
Me likey.
All right.
We got a couple
Now
of
we're
Avengers.
going into our character conversation. Bear with us. This will probably be a while. So, of our Avengers team, we have Iron Man, Captain America,
America.
the Incredible Hulk, Hawkeye,
Yep.
Romanoff,
Black
a.k.a.
Widow.
Black Widow,
I love the way she says it.
and Thor.
Thor. Those are the core
Face
Avengers.
Avengers.
We also
Safe.
got some Nick Furies.
We got some Nick Furies, we got
Maria
some
Hills.
Coulsons, we got some Maria Hills,
Coulsons.
and dun, 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 we got some Loki. Classic evil Loki. Man, I missed him. I missed him a lot. I love me some Loki.
So I'm gonna give a little background before we get too far into the characters, just because I feel like this movie has a lot going on, and
Yeah.
if you
Yeah,
don't
it
understand
does.
what's happening, like what is happening?
It begins with 0 Avengers, right? It's just Shield Station.
Exactly, and it's confusing if you don't know what is going on.
Right.
And I think that's
Or if
why
you're like me and you forget things very easily and had to ask Andre a million questions
Well,
during this movie.
It's funny that you say that because Luis and I paused it a couple times so that we could like talk through it. Like, okay, hold on. So the movie opens and you see. I mean, we're gonna like move past a little bit,
Sure.
but like they're in a NASA/Shield warehouse of some sort. Like,
Headquarters of some
yeah,
kind?
they're
and they
in,
have
like-
a Tesseract, which
and they have the Tesseract.
Okay, and I needed to be reminded when was the last time we even saw the Tesseract because I was like, wait, why do they have it? I thought
Well,
it was in the ocean. Like,
Yes,
I don't know.
we saw it at the end of Captain America, the first Avenger.
In the ocean, right?
It falls into the ocean, but then when I think Captain America, the first Avenger is like a frame story, and at the beginning of that movie, it shows Shield discovering
Yes.
that downed plane and recovering the Tesseract, and then also at the
and it
end,
had, and I think it had Tony Stark's dad in there who helped
Yeah.
like
Yes.
get it out.
and then also at the end of Thor, that post credit scene is Nick Fury showing the Tesseract to Dr. Selvig.
yeah.
Right.
Who was in Thor.
Yes.
So I think that's why it's so like you need to know this information or you're like, what is this blue glowing
Blue glowing
thing, right?
Yeah, you can't. You have to have knowledge if
This
you're watching
cosmic
these movies.
cube.
Exactly. So Cosmic Cube is chilling in the middle of this warehouse, and you see Dr. Selvig. We'll just call him the doctor. He's there and he's looking at it and everything, and pretty much everyone gets alerted because the Tesseract throws off an energy surge, and it hasn't really been interacting with anything. So when it did an unprecedented energy surge, everyone like flipped out because number one, they don't know what it is. Number two, they don't know what it can do, and number three, they're pretty sure it can like level
Earth?
compound, the Earth,
Which it did.
right?
Yeah.
So they don't know. So they start an evac. They're like, everyone get the heck out of here. Long story short, it is the Tesseract holds
It's a
the
doorway.
Space Stone.
That's right, yes.
Right? And I don't know if they actually say that in this movie.
No, they
but
don't.
it's implied because it allows travel through space.
Right. Yes.
So it acts as a doorway. Loki is on the other side of space. and
Space.
at which point he's interacting with a big ol'
Purple dude.
Big ol'
Thanos.
Grimace.
A big old grimace face.
Big old ugly original Thanos, let's be
Ooh,
real.
real scary chin.
Yeah.
And he gets transported to this facility. So in the facility, he ends up shocking some people with his
He's
with a scepter.
wielding his scepter, which also has an Infinity Stone. in it.
Right, and this one
Yeah,
is the
the pow-
mind
Mind
stone.
I knew that.
Yes.
So he is able to, which back up a little bit, that makes Loki very powerful. And this is
Yeah.
one of the things, this is like in Characterville. Luis and I were talking about it. So number one, Loki, even though he's not Asgardian, he is
He's a sorcerer.
a sorcerer.
He's
a-
an ice
still a
giant,
god,
technically.
technically.
He's a god
He's
of
a god
mischief.
Mhm.
And now he's wielding
A very powerful.
an Infinity Stone.
Technically, two almost.
Yeah. So if you think about it, like, he's really powerful right there,
Yeah.
and he's not really using it to his full potential. Like,
Well,
could have been doing some crazy
They show
stuff.
how powerful he is. He starts just mopping the floor with all these shield agents.
That's true.
It's a really fun action scene where he gets where bullets are like flying, bouncing off of him, and he's like charging at these dudes and stabbing them and sweeping the legs. It's
Yeah,
cool
he
stuff.
does. He does really good. He does a lot of fun action with that scepter.
Mm-hmm.
So, long story short, this is like the most important part that got me the first time. I missed this. Obviously, what he does is he takes over. He
takes over their minds.
he takes over the
He's
doctor,
like, bing.
and he takes over
Hawkeye.
which is Agent Barton of S.H.I.E.L.D. And so that's why the whole time I'm like, isn't he supposed to be a good guy, but it's a bad guy and everything. So he takes him over and he pretty much like makes him do his evil bidding for most of the movie.
Right. Fun fact: Hawkeye started out as a bad guy in the comics.
Oh.
He was in the circus doing archery. And the circus was like owned by supervillains, so he would do like some thieving and stuff like that until he got taken under Captain America's wing.
I like Hawkeye. This movie has some of my favorite like Hawkeye Romanoff interactions, which I mean we all know that their relationship is like pretty strong. Basically, Hawkeye was given the directive to go kill this amazing, I don't even know what you call her, like super spy
Assassin.
Thank you. Like he had been given the directive to like go destroy her because she's just messing things up in the world. Like she's amazing. And he's like, no. And he talks to her and is like, come work for S.H.I.E.L.D. instead, which was a good call there because Romanoff is absolutely amazing. But they have like this pretty strong relationship, so it was nice seeing that.
And kind of like the origin of their.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, because you don't get any other origin of their
Right.
relationship.
'Cause
This
neither
is,
of them get their own movies.
no.
Yet.
I'm sorry, I don't think they have enough for.
Black Widow is going to get her own movie.
But Hawk.
No, not Hawkeye.
Hawk Smile. No.
Like I think no,
Jeremy
not Hawkeye.
Modesto. No.
Jeremy Modesto.
Oh, by the way, yeah, Jeremy Renner's where we're
Just
from.
so everyone
guys.
knows, Hawkeye, the gentleman who plays Agent Barton, aka Hawkeye,
AKA Jeremy Renner.
he's from Modesto. He's from where we are very centrally located, and I remember this very, very distinctly. One of our friends and listeners of the podcast, Mary Angela, used to
Shout
work.
out.
She used to work at Starbucks.
Oh yeah, I remember
Shout out
this
to
story.
Starbucks.
She saw him.
Yes, Michelle, you want to tell the
Sorry.
story?
No, you tell it.
Long story short, she was working drive-through, and Senor Renner came through the drive-through, and she was like,
Yeah. She lost her mind.
I remember when I was in high school. I don't know if it was my junior or senior year, but Jeremy Renner was getting married, and he got married in Modesto. And my choir teacher like knew him because they're like around the same age, and they went to school together. And she was like, "Oh, I'm going to this wedding," but she didn't go to the wedding. But she saw like a lot of pictures and things like
That's
that.
hilarious.
There was like helicopters trying to spy on Jeremy Renner's wedding in
Crash.
Modesto. We're like, why did he get married in Modesto? I don't know, Jeremy Renner.
because all of his family's
Yeah, he
here.
Yeah, I
enjoys
know.
Modesto.
Well, I enjoy Turlock. Anywho,
Anyways.
moving along. But I agree with you, Michelle. They have a really good backstory here, and it shows that there is strength in the Avengers even when there isn't strength in the Avengers.
And I feel like this is one of the original movies where they really like. I had kind of forgotten how cool Hawkeye was because we haven't been getting a lot of him. Well, he wasn't in Infinity War, and we just haven't seen as much of him lately. Like, he's pretty cool, dude.
They show off his talents in this movie very well.
Yeah.
I like him.
The dude is good.
But you know who I like more? Loki.
Back to Loki.
Back to Loki.
That's a good segue because he does so much cool stuff at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, which is not like a bad thing in the plot or anything, he does all of his cool stuff at the beginning of the movie because he's out, he's free, and then once he gets captured by S.H.I.E.L.D., he's pretty much like given quips in the glass
in the cage.
In the glass cage. But so pretty much what he does is he is able to break into a place in France through the help of Hawkeye.
Is it France or
Germany?
Germany.
Germany. You're right. Germany, with the help of Hawkeye and the Doctor and everything, to get a stabilizer so that they can open up another portal so that an evil alien army the Chitauri,
invade New York
can
City.
invade, right? So they have to find this stabilizing agent. He goes out there and he does the coolest, like, scepter whip I've ever seen in my life. That's one of my favorite parts of that entire movie. He's using it as a cane. He's like walking like a cool, like undercover
and
Loki.
He knocks the spit out of that dude's face
and takes his
picks
eyeball.
it up, boom, steals his eyeball. And then they get in, they steal what they need. And then subsequently he does a Hitler-esque speech about non-freedom. And then he is captured by Senor America and Senor Iron Man.
But I love Loki, and he's actually like wearing his headpiece in this one.
Yes.
And they do like those cool transitions into his like dope outfit. He's so cool.
Yeah, reindeer games.
Yeah. I love
Make
Loki.
a move, reindeer games.
Loki is like the most in-depth well, he's my favorite villain of the Marvel universe, but he has like such a complex character. Like sometimes I hate him, sometimes I love him, but usually I love him because I love to hate him. But he just
You also love to look at him.
Yep, I love to look at him. And you know, he changes. He's a changed man farther on.
Is he a changed man?
Nah, he's still mischievous. He'll always be the god of mischief, but I just love him. He's just misunderstood, okay?
Tom Hiddleston is doing some very good acting
he is.
in this movie. He's got all of the Shakespearean lines that they could possibly give him.
He has that like weird eye and like grin thingy down that I can't do, and his hair is like
making a lot of faces.
His hair is like greased back perfectly. It's real greasy in this movie, guys.
Yeah,
that kind of
Snape
fell
hair.
off a little bit later on in the game, but he's great.
Still pretty greasy.
Less greasy.
I don't mind it, but it's kind of greasy.
No, but I enjoyed Tom Hiddleston's performance in this movie, especially when he's in that cage talking to Black Widow, and he thinks that he's like getting to her, and he's calling her all kinds of
things he says are nasty.
some old school slurs where he calls her like a mewling quim or whatever.
And she's like, thanks. That was exactly what I needed.
I'm pretending to cry. You're making me so sad, Loki.
Haha, it's the Hulk. Bye-bye.
It's good stuff.
Looking all good in their black suit.
I especially love the scene where Thor just comes on the plane and is like, my Loki. And he just like steals Loki.
Well, that's what happened.
So good. And
Well,
that's probably why he thought he was stupid.
Well, yeah. So pretty much
I love Thor.
Loki gets tossed up into a Quinjet, right? S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to take Loki into...
Keep him forever,
Keep him.
I guess.
I don't know.
Probably experiment on his body. And
they're gonna take him.
Use it to make weapons.
So we have Cap and we have I think Black Widow's there. It doesn't matter.
Yes, Black
so
Widow's
pretty
there.
much Cap and Iron Man have Loki in the back of the Quinjet and they're going, and then they hear thunder, they hear lightning, they hear everything, and
they're like,
someone
what?
says
Afraid
something.
of lightning?
Yeah.
I'm more scared of what comes after.
Yeah, I'm not overly fond of what follows.
That's right.
And Thor pretty much appears on the Quinjet and is like, I'm taking this Loki, right? And he jumps out the back of the plane and takes Loki, and they're going to go back to Asgard. They're gonna get out of there.
And Thor's so sad. He's like, you're alive?
He's
No.
upset.
Right.
We thought you were dead. And Loki's like, I don't give a crap if you thought I was dead at
Right.
all. But Thor always wants to see the best in Loki. And that's why I like Thor a lot, too.
Well, and it's funny because at this point, I really enjoy this part because at this point, Iron Man and Cap are like, whoa, 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 you are taking our fugitive. This is not cool.
Right.
And actually, one of my favorite lines of Cap, and Louis was quoting it yesterday, comes out right at this point. Louis, do you want to share what he says?
No, I always butcher things. Go right ahead.
Pretty much like, I don't know who says it, but someone's
it's
like,
Black Widow. She's like, these guys are basically gods, Cap. You might want to be careful.
and he goes, excuse me, ma'am, there's only one God, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't dress like that.
And then jumps out of a plane.
And then
because
just
this
boom, boom.
is where you have classic, old, still very old-fashioned Captain
Exactly.
America.
He's a good old boy.
So everything he says
Yeah.
in this movie is like so different than how he is now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why this movie was so refreshing. I was like, oh yeah, that was Captain.
He's
like
fresh
he
from
was a little
1945, and he
and calls everyone ma'am,
Yes.
you know.
Good
So
old Irish Catholic boy.
I love when he
exactly.
when they're on the freaking hover, whatever you call it, the thingy, the
Helicarrier?
Helicarrier.
Oh, yes.
Thank you. And it's going down, and Iron Man's like, "Open up the whatever. What's in there?" He's like, "I think it's powered by some source of electricity." He's like, "Well, you're not wrong." It's so good. I love Captain in this movie.
he's very funny.
And that's kind of the one thing Luis and I agree on is that we both like Captain America. We're usually on his side, so.
Yeah, he's cute in this movie.
He's right. He's always
right. He's a good old boy. He knows what he's doing. And you know what? He took control. He really was the first Avenger at the end. They were like, even Iron Man was
Yeah, he
finally
did.
like, okay, Cap, what do we do?
Yeah.
You do this, and he knows what he's talking about.
I love that scene where Cap is like giving orders to that cop on the ground, and the cop is like, "Who are you? Why would I listen to you?" And then Cap beats the nonsense out of an alien, and then the cop is like, "All right, do what he says. Do what he says over here. Do what he says over there. Do what he says over here."
Because he's Captain America. He's the best. He's saving, and he's the one that's mainly concerned with the civilians too.
Yeah.
Like they're trapped in a bus. He's like, I need to go save the civilians.
Well, I think
Things
that's
like
really
that.
cool because and that's one of the things I wrote down about this movie. And obviously this is the point of the whole thing is that regardless if they get along, regardless if they care about each other per se, they are all necessary.
Right.
Maybe not the Hulk, but Dr. Banner is, right?
Sure.
Together they are all very important, and I think that that's really cool because even when in that scene that we were talking about earlier where they're all fighting and they're all just like, you just don't care about anybody but
Yeah, they
yourself.
have their panties in a bunch.
You know, they're all mad and everything. The moment that something happens and that, chaos strikes, they're able to work together to really make sure that, number one, nobody dies, or at
Right.
least amount of people die.
Minimum
and
impact.
And they're doing as much as they can. I mean, I love that scene on that helicarrier. So,
they're finally
Agent
like, let's try to
Barton-
work together.
Agent Barton pretty much bombs the ship so that like the engine goes out and all this stuff, and Cap is on the ground fighting people while Iron Man's trying to like get the
engines
engine
going.
restarted. Like and I know that you don't like him, but like without Iron Man, they would have
gone down.
literally gone out of the sky.
Probably
But-
taking out an entire city
I
or
know.
something
Oh
like
right,
that.
but without Cap, then Iron Man would have been toast. So it's just so great the
I
way
will
that they
say
interact.
that. Okay, well, let's just talk about that Iron Man. Let's get it over with.
Get it over with.
The majority of my okay, everybody knows that I'm not a huge Iron Man fan.
Mm-hmm.
I've grown fond of him from Spider-Man Homecoming on. I've really enjoyed his character a lot more. But this is still very early Iron Man to me. He's very full of himself. He's trying to get Hulk to just explode like an idiot. Come
Which
on.
is hilarious.
It's so
not
funny.
funny.
He's like
It's
poking him with the
stupid.
Okay,
electro
Captain
stick.
Michelle.
Captain America was right. He's like, I don't think you should provoke him and just have a Hulk, let's just messing things up. Okay,
It's hilarious.
he's right.
It's
But I will
hilarious.
say that I miss the fact that at the end of this movie, Captain America and Iron Man finally start to have a good relationship.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously we get way more into that as the movies go along, but that was kind of the first time where I finally was like, Iron Man is a little bit humble. He's willing to take direction from Captain America, who he doesn't really care about. He just goes along, with it. And then he's like, okay, fine.
Well, and I
And he
think
does-
this
I'll
is
take direction from the fossil, sure.
right. Well, but this is the determining character archetype
Yes.
for Iron Man.
Yeah.
The end of this movie where he pretty much, long story short, everyone, Stark Tower that he has created as being a clean energy source, which is supposed to be the MetLife building in New York, but really it ended up
Just
being
so
like
funny.
Stark Tower, ends up being what Loki uses as the power source to power the new, what do you call that?
Portal
For the Chitauri to come through. So in the end,
Good job, Iron Man.
the Shield Council ends up saying like, no, we need to nuke New York because either we let New York die and we keep this contained, or the entire world is going to get overrun with aliens and then we all messed up, right? So the nuke has already been sent out and they're like freaking out, and Iron Man pretty much without any forethought gets the nuke and is going to take it up into outer deep space.
And this is after Captain America has said directly to Iron Man's face, like, you're not the guy that's going to make the sacrifice. You're not going to jump on the grenade. You're
But
not going to do all that stuff.
But hold on. Let me finish what I'm going to say. So up until this point, he's totally playing the what does he call himself? Millionaire philanthropist.
Yes.
Like, what are you to the team? Obviously, millionaire playboy philanthropist. One of my favorite lines in the whole thing.
Stupid.
Oh, it's so good. I love it. But so he takes it
Really
up
dumb.
there, and that moment, so he takes the nuke, he flies up into the hole, and Romanoff is telling them through their headsets, like, I'm going to close it, like, I'm able to close it. So pretty much he flies up there, the nuke explodes, and Cap makes the call, like, pull out, Romanoff, close the portal. So then you just see Iron Man, he sees himself, like, losing power in his suit, he's literally out in the middle of dead space, and he's falling. And he's falling through the portal, and thank the Lord, he comes through the portal on the other side. But that moment redefines Iron Man's character for the rest of the films.
Right.
No matter what happens, don't make that face at me. Through the rest of the films, even though he's still cocky and he still has the same personality, his choices are defined by that moment in time.
Okay, but listen, let me talk.
Yes, of course.
I don't think. Okay, so yes, Iron Man puts the nuke through the portal. That's all fine and dandy. But I don't really know necessarily if he did it out of like selflessness or if he did it because he just thinks he's so cool. And
I don't care what his motivation
He just thinks
is.
I'm
He
so
did
cool and I'm just going to be the hero and save the day and I'm better than Cap and I'm the only one that could do this. So I'm just going to do it.
Oh, I'm not even like speculating on his motivations. I don't honestly care. He was saving New York, right?
Yeah.
But so the point is though is that he goes into like full on meltdown mode in Iron Man. Honestly, I think it's the third one.
Iron Man
yeah,
3,
it's Iron
yes.
Man 3.
He literally is having like PTSD, anxiety
Hardcore.
attacks because of everything that happened, and that just shows how much it really impacted him.
It
And that's
did.
why
Yeah, I
his
know.
decision-making process is very different. That's why the Sokovia Accords even really happened in later subsequent
Right,
movies.
because he felt that bad about
Team Captain is
everything
fine.
that he's done.
Still Team Captain America. Luis agrees with me. It's fine.
I still like Iron Man, and
I like him now.
it's very interesting coming off of Doctor Strange because we were comparing those two guys' cockiness and arrogance and meanness, and like Doctor Strange is a big old jerk who eventually gets the job done, but Tony Stark is like a very fun and charismatic dude. He gets onto that helicarrier and he's just like, how does Fury see out of these things? Blah, 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 blah. Ah, that dude's playing Gallagher. Hey, everybody look at me. I'm Tony Stark. Oh, this is fun. And he's mean and he's annoying and a jerk, but it's so much more
I think he's more
appealing
fun,
and more
yes.
likable.
No,
Yes.
Doctor Strange is way
But-
more
than Doctor
likable.
Strange.
But Doctor Strange isn't trying to be funny. I think for him, like, the funniness comes because he's so serious about how rude he is.
Right.
but Tony Stark is trying to get a rise out of people.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, it works.
Yeah.
we had fun Point Break.
I just like I,
I didn't
said.
get that reference.
Because you haven't seen Point Break. He
I
looks
like-
just like Swayze.
I like Iron
Pietrix.
Man.
Thor
Pietrix.
does.
Oh. Okay.
You didn't, Luis, how many times did you make me rewind the part where he's like, that guy over there is playing Galaga? Galactica?
funny.
Galaga? What is
Galaga.
it?
Yeah, what about that?
He literally was like, stop, we need to see it. Oh, look.
That's my favorite part in the movie.
Because the guy looks over his little, oh God, he does look like Point Break.
Yeah.
Doesn't he?
Okay.
Looks just like the dude in Point Break.
That's hilarious.
That's
Hilarious.
funny.
But the guy looks over his shoulder and you kind of think like, ooh, is he a bad guy? What is he doing? Why doesn't he want people to look at what he's doing? And then he turns back over and he's playing Galaga. He's like shooting little things. Luis enjoyed that.
I read that line that man is playing Galaga was an ad lib by Robert Downey Jr. And then Kevin Feige was like, "Yeah, that's good. Let's put that in." And then they,
like I said, I like Iron Man after, blah, 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 blah.
after this
Spider-Man:
or
Homecoming.
After Spider-Man. Okay.
So you
Yes.
don't like him in this movie? That's okay.
No,
That's
I love
okay.
Captain
Just like
America though.
Iron Man, Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, this, Avengers: Age of Ultron, Captain America: Civil War.
It's okay,
Spider-Man.
Michelle. You don't have to like him. I'm not trying to make you like him.
But on another topic,
He is important, though.
He
Yes.
is. They all are. They all have to work together to get the job done. That's just how it is. None of this would have happened if it wasn't for the most important character in this movie,
You're yelling.
Coulson.
Coulson.
None of this Avengers initiative, they never would have decided to work together if it wasn't for Coulson's death.
And Nick Fury's manipulation.
Speech. Yeah, well, that's a different thing.
He's pretty
But if
manipulative.
Coulson hadn't died, none of these Avengers would have finally been like, okay, let's do this.
Michelle and I have been watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the TV show.
So my love for Coulson has been growing and growing and growing.
Coulson is the main character on that show, and the way that he is portrayed on that show it lines
He's
up almost
exactly
exactly
like this movie.
I
He
was very
literally is
surprised
like
by that.
so hopeful, so committed to S.H.I.E.L.D., so into these beings. Like
Big
I love-
Captain America fan.
Big, yeah. Why do you think I like Coulson? He's a Captain America fan.
Well, it's really cool because so the agent, and we talked about this, I think, on the last episode, but the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show literally picks up the moment that this particular movie ends.
Yeah. Right.
It's supposed to be like very shortly within a year of this happening. And yes, Agent Coulson is on that show. So we see a very large death scene and a very a lot of repercussions happen from his death in this movie. And then he does appear on the other show. So that's its own secret in it's in its own thing. But I won't lie to you. Coulson is my favorite character in the entire MCU.
And it's really cool because
He's so great.
He, like, not even Nick Fury was in all of the movies, but I think Coulson was in all of the movies leading up to the Avengers as well.
Even if it was just like a mention of him,
Yeah.
like even if his face didn't pop into it, he was the agent on the ground dealing with all of the super powered people.
Yes.
You know, but like you said, he is very he's a great character because he can bring them all together, even though he's kind of geeky and overly hopeful and everything.
Coulson is Captain America without the powers.
Yeah,
Captain America Jr.
Yeah. Exactly.
No, he literally is.
Fix
like
it, Felix Jr.
I
over
kind of
here.
was thinking about them, like why he was so like Captain America signed my training cards because he like kind of is like they have that same kind of like. Like this old-fashioned view of like literally all we're going to do is help save the world.
There's a character in the comics. His name is Rick Jones, and he doesn't have any superpowers or anything like that. But he's just been at all of these particular events. Like he was there when the Hulk turned into when Bruce Banner turned into the Hulk for the first time. Like Bruce Banner was going out to try to save Rick Jones, and that was the reason that he turned into the Hulk in the first place. And then like he was there when like they found Captain America and stuff like that. And so like throughout the history of the Avengers, he has been around. And then at one point, I believe he dies, and then that really it really hits all of the Avengers harder than they ever thought that it would happen because he's just this kid who's hanging around, being a big fanboy. But it turns out that kind of character, that little guy that you're all fighting for, is the real heart of the teams.
It's funny that his name is Rick Jones. Not that anyone will care about this but me, but one of our family friends' name is Rick Jones, and there's only I don't like a lot of people in this life. And if I really had to pick a person that I really like Rick Jones. So you go, Rick Jones.
You go, Rick Jones. Comic version and Emily's version.
There you go. Taught me self-defense. Be kicking some people's butts.
Coulson is so important.
So yes, Coulson reminds me a lot of Rick Jones.
I like it.
It's funny because I really didn't pay attention to Coulson at all. Like even when we rewatched all of these together, I was like, okay, he's Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's who he is. Same with Maria. Like I didn't really, or Nick Fury. I didn't really pay close attention to the S.H.I.E.L.D. aspect of these early movies. I literally was just in it for the superheroes. But this rewatching, I really paid attention to like all the S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff. So that was really cool. Like S.H.I.E.L.D. was so cool. Like it's very important for all of these superheroes. Yeah.
Well, it's funny that you say that because one of the things I wrote down in my notes is that it's really, like you said, it's really fun to watch this movie and the other movies too, like leading up to this, because the TV show really brings those secondary characters into light.
Right.
Like some of the people that were on the bridge in this movie end up being Hydra agents in the TV
that
show.
Agent Sitwell dude.
Yes!
Andre
Captain
was
America,
like,
the Winter
"Yo, he's
Soldier."
Hydra."
Ooh, you see his stupid face and you just want to punch it,
Yeah,
and you're
yeah.
like, don't give us no information about
Guy-
the thing. You just want to.
Guy with the glasses.
I'm pretty sure sitting right next to him in the computers where you see the back of him is that other high-ranking girl in S.H.I.E.L.D. that gets killed by Ward.
Hand?
Victoria Hand.
I think so.
Yeah.
Kind of looked like the back of her, even though I know the hair color's off. But
Could have been.
I didn't.
I don't know. I
notice
had a feeling. I was like, what if that's Victoria
could've been.
Hand?
Yeah, it's really interesting. So if you have seen that TV show, you obviously know what we're talking about. But if you haven't seen the TV show, it's on Netflix. And if you think that this whole thing and this whole universe is really cool, it does a really good job lining up with the movies.
Yeah.
So watching this movie and then watching that TV show is actually really, really cool.
It's very interesting. I had heard that show wasn't good, like when it was first coming on, so I kind of stayed away from it. But rewatching it now has been awesome. It's a good show.
I really enjoy it.
It's fun.
This, yeah, you should see my notes, everyone. Look at when Coulson dies.
But no, Coulson.
Oh my God, Emily.
And then I wrote-
exclamation points.
Son of Cole.
Son of Cole.
Coulson, son of Cole.
But it was really sad when he died. But I did enjoy his
At least
death.
he- at
That
least
sounds
he's-
bad, but I did enjoy it because he said the defining point of the whole movie. He said this was never going to work unless they had something to fight for.
Right.
You know, meaning that the Avengers were never going to come together and be a good team if they didn't have like a sole vision, because each of them had very different agendas. Thor didn't even care
They get
about
a vision later.
right? I kept telling Luis, he's like, "Oh, look, there's Vision." I said, "Stop, it's Jarvis." Right?
It's Jarvis right now, yeah.
Oh,
But, oh, shoot. I forgot what I was going to say. Continue.
but I did like when after Coulson died.
Oh, yeah, how he gets
Fury goes. Fury goes. He's like ranting about, yeah, this happened, that happened, blah blah blah. I just lost my one good eye. Like talking about Coulson.
Yes.
Like he only has one eye to begin
One
with,
good
and it was
eye.
Coulson.
Coulson,
So
the
funny.
good thing about him is he still freaking gets his last shot in with Loki. That's what that does. And then he dies. Like, come on, Coulson.
Yes, that was good.
It's all very cool.
So I have a question because I thought this was one of the funniest scenes in the whole. I thought it was hilarious, and it was a very underplayed moment for me, at least. But Tony Stark's trying to figure out where this portal is going to be opened by Loki, right? And I think he's talking to Banner. No, I think they're sitting at that table right after Coulson died, and they're like trying to
Right.
figure out
It's
where's.
him and Cap.
Yeah, where's it gonna show? And he's just like, no, Loki likes
dramatic.
He's dramatic. He likes this. He likes that. He's gonna
His
have
name
this.
up in lights.
He's gonna have a. And he
building
literally
with his name printed on. Oh.
he calls him a full tilt diva. He calls him a full tilt diva, and he ends up realizing that he's talking about his damn self.
Oh wait, that's me. I'm the diva.
And then he realizes that, the Avengers Tower is not the Avengers Tower
Stark
yet.
Tower.
Stark Tower is most definitely where they're going to be opening up this portal. And so I wrote
You played yourself.
I wrote on my notes, full tilt diva, Tony v. Loki.
Who is more diva?
Who's more diva-y? But you know what else I did V's for? I did actually a few V's. I did Hammer v. Shield explosion for earlier in the movie.
Oh, when they're fighting in the forest.
When they're fighting in the forest.
That was very cool. That's that particular moment where Thor hits the shield and it like just reverberates is like the most unbelievable part of that fight to me. But it still is cool.
It's
in the
cool,
movie.
but I agree with you. I don't know if that repercussion would do that.
Right.
But then again, if you think of it, when he opens the Bifrost with his hammer, it creates pretty much a cornfield, like
Sure.
like what do you call that?
Yeah, like a
Corn maze thing.
Alien.
Alien eye spot on the.
You know what we're
corn.
talking about.
What is that
The
called?
things. The fields.
Crop rows.
Crop
Circles.
circles.
Boom!
We nailed it.
That only took 10 years.
took us a minute.
No, but seriously. So I thought that was really interesting, though, because it shows that his shield is just as strong because it's made of vibranium, which we
Right.
know, but just as strong as Thor's hammer.
Sure.
Maybe not as effective in other ways, but
Yeah.
just as strong because
Kind of.
Thor came in with God's strength and
Right. Like I think if that would have actually happened,
If Thor had
if that
actually-
was real, if it was happening right here in front of my face, the shield would still like block the hammer, but Captain America would be like 6 feet under the dirt.
Exactly. That actually would have been really funny. Like if he had hit it and Cap had like
Just sunk.
pushed up and just sunk into the ground,
Yeah.
that would have been hilarious.
That would have been cool.
Because it's funny that you say that because that is then indicating that Cap is as strong as Thor, right? Because
Right,
he was
which
able
he
to
is
hold
not.
it up without moving. And I don't know if
I
that's true.
contradict your theory because doesn't vibranium absorb everything?
Yeah.
So by absorbing it, there's no force pushing Captain down. That's why it kind of... And I'll agree with you in that should
That's
not have
interesting.
happened because if the shield's really absorbing everything it hits,
every blow.
because then there would not have been that sonic boom.
Right. And then also
In that
I think if the shield did that, it wouldn't be able to like bounce off of stuff like it does. Like if every impact that it took, it just completely cut out, it would just hit something and then drop immediately.
Or just stick in the tree or something.
Right, yeah, that too.
That's really funny.
Huh.
Shield physics. Let's get into
Vibranium,
it.
I need to know. I need to understand.
How does this work?
Oh my
You know
gosh.
what though? But then going ahead to Black Panther, you know how the suit absorbs everything.
That's true. Yeah,
and
the
then
vibranium
distributes
has
it
more
back?
properties than we even know at this point in time. Yeah, it can bounce stuff back.
So maybe that's why it did the sonic boom.
Sure. Okay. All right. I see you.
Which we'll be talking about Black Panther soon enough, my
Yes.
friends. But like what Luisa's saying, it's able to redistribute kinetic energy. So
Yes.
maybe that's what it's doing without them knowing what it does.
Yeah.
In
I
the
don't
most
think that they-
primitive way.
Yeah.
You know
Yes,
what I mean?
exactly. Just like a base level.
Shuri was able to
Bing bam.
Shuri was
Bing
able
bam.
to master that, but like in the most primitive, basic way, that's the way it did.
Right. Yeah.
That's why, like, whenever it hits things, it bounces off even faster.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I wonder if they
That's the
thought
only
about
theory I
that
got.
this much, or if we're just like, yeah, they thought about that. Boom.
I'm sure they
we're
thought about it a fair
fan-fictioning.
amount, but yeah, we're probably going a little deeper than
Fan
they did.
fiction. And stuff.
I don't mind it. I
Exactly.
don't mind it.
Nor do I.
Oh my gosh. Well,
You
you know what we didn't really talk about? I mean, we kind of touched on it a little bit, but I want to talk a little bit excuse me, about how Romanoff is literally the best interrogator ever.
She's awesome. In that
first
opening
scene.
scene where she's talking to those Russian dudes, and they're like,
Oh.
and she gets the call. She's like, "I'm working. Shut up. They're giving me everything." And the guy's like, "I know to give everything."
So she's tied up to a chair, like sitting on the edge, almost falling like back into a, I don't know, hole.
Just a big old hole. Warehouse
Big old hole. And the dudes are like they think they've got her, like they're gonna like pull out her teeth or something with like pliers or
Got
something.
pliers.
And she's just sitting there, and then literally a call comes from the dude's jacket. He picks it up, gives it to the general dude. Then the
you.
general's like, "It's for you," to Romanoff, and
Why
she's
would he
like,
give it to her?
"Excuse me, I'm working." And Coulson's like, "I need you to come in." She's like, "I got these guys right where I want them." And so literally he's like, "I am not messing with you, Romanoff. You need to come in." So she gets
She's
her
like,
way.
Fine. I'll beat them up.
She literally beats the you-know-what out of them, gets out of her ties, and runs into S.H.I.E.L.D. like a total BA. She just...
awesome.
She knows what's up. That's so fantastic. And then we
diggity
talked on this
dog.
one a little bit, but later on she does the same type of interrogation with Loki.
Loki, yes.
You know, she goes in there and tries to appeal to his sense of heart, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Not on purpose, not
Right.
not to really get the information that she's looked for, that particular information. She talks about her relationship with Barton. That's where you learn a lot. But really, she wants to know, like, why the hell did you want us all on this plane?
Right. Yeah. It's very subtle the way that she works, because she went in there, and then as soon as he starts getting, when she starts getting the reaction she wants, when he starts rising in anger, and then she's like, "Oh, I'll just play the victim here for just a little bit," and then boom, gotcha.
Oh, it's good. It's really good. And it's funny because I know this movie, and I'm pretty sure it's Winter Soldier. Is that the one
Yes,
where she's
that's
in
where
it a lot?
she's very prominent.
At first I thought, Scarlett Johansson. Like when originally that I saw that she was in the movies, I kind of was like, I don't know. But her character is so cool.
Yes, and I love how much
so cool.
she has developed over the course of these films.
Oh yeah, they did a great job with her, especially with her ability to fight, which
Yeah.
at this point we don't know much of her backstory, right? At
No,
this
we
point?
saw her in Iron Man 2, where she revealed herself to be a super secret spy at the
Right.
end. And then And then we see her in this, and that's
right.
basically-
Okay,
that's all
so we
know.
haven't gotten like the whole like her being
the
you
red
know,
room and
yeah,
all
yeah,
of
yeah.
that stuff. Yeah.
But it's really cool because when you watch her fight, she is a super assassin. She really
Yes.
is just as technically capable as Cap.
Right. If Cap didn't have super strength and then they fought, she would win.
She would totally win, 100%. And it's even cool because in the S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show, they talk about her like she's like...
Right. She's the top agent.
She's totally famous.
She's the one. And
They're
she
just-
wasn't even an original S.H.I.E.L.D. member. They pulled her in from the KGB or whatever.
And they're just like, oh my gosh, you want to fight Romanoff? Nah, man, she'd win. It's quite hilarious because she really is that cool.
Yeah.
But I know that Michelle was talking a little bit earlier about how when they're in the fight scene at the end for New York, it's so cool to see the differences again in how they fight because once Hulk goes Hulk, they just let him run rampant.
Yeah.
Just do you do.
Hey, smash the aliens.
Smash some stuff. Cap and Romanoff are on the ground,
Yes.
saving people and kicking alien booty.
Yep.
And then Hawkeye's on the edge of
rooftop.
a building.
Yep.
Just shooting.
Just whittling down arrows.
Just
You
shooting
know what? I
things.
got about 48 of these in here, and I'm going to use every single one
Just
of them.
Legolasing all over the place. And
Clutch
then,
up, Legolas.
and then Iron Man. He's
He's flying around.
flying around.
Kicking butt.
Am I missing anyone? Oh,
Thor.
Thor. He's kind of just jumping around.
So Thor was tasked with going onto the top of the Chrysler building, pulling down lightning, and then attacking some of the big
yeah.
big flying
And you know what? He
aliens. did
did a pretty good job. I mean,
pretty good.
he used it and he set some explosions to happen. It was very nice goodness. But it's funny because I cannot get over, I don't care how many times I've seen this movie, I cannot get over how disgusting the Chitauri are. Literally, I wrote Chitauri be disgusting. It's
They-
not even grammatically correct.
they
It's that
nasty.
they are so gross.
They gross.
And Luis and I were trying to like figure out like what they are, and he was like trying to explain it, not explain it to me, but we were trying to deconstruct it, like their physiology. Like
They're humanoid because they got 2 legs and 2 arms, and then they got a face, and that face is
ugly.
ugly. It's an ugly face. And I think in terms of like the comics, the Chitauri are like an offset race of like the Skrulls or the Kree or something like that. I think one of the two, or maybe a combination of the both. Skrulls are an alien race that can shapeshift, and the Kree are an alien race that can
Be blue.
And are have super strength.
and they have super strength, and they're at war with each other constantly. And I think the Chitauri are some kind of response to that war of some kind. But
okay.
in terms of their physiology, I don't know what's going on.
Well, what's weird about them, and especially the big flying machine thing,
Yeah.
the
whale.
worm whale.
That's basically a rhino with armor.
We got
that-
those in Black Panther.
Yes. So what bothers me is that it has, okay, all of them. They have flesh
Yeah.
underneath armor. They have some sort of consciousness, obviously. Like the whale thing is what really gets me. It has like outside armor that it can deploy things. It flies.
Yeah.
So
So
think about it like
is
it's a industrialized horse saddle.
right,
Okay,
like
okay.
if you think of it as like a
Transporter.
human or a horse, yeah, it's just a thing that wears armor. It's like Iron Man. He's got stuff that projectiles off and stuff.
But this
like
is
that.
what
Perfect
bothers me.
example. Remember the elephants from Lord of the Rings, the big tall ones?
Yeah.
You know how they transported people? It's
Yeah.
pretty much the same idea. It's just that more armor covering the entire body type.
Okay, I'm
Magnitude.
cool with that. But then once they close the portal, they all immediately
Oh, right.
fell
That's-
to the ground and
that's
were
right.
dead.
They're like hive-minded.
No.
Oh.
their
So-
hive was destroyed.
Yes. So
Okay, that makes sense then.
Tony threw the nuke into the ship that was the hive mind for all of
Can
the.
you explain what hive mind is for people? Because I had to watch S.H.I.E.L.D. all kinds of times to be able to understand hive mind.
A hive mind. I think ants and bees kind of operate in this manner, where there's like one central location that all of the little workers work off of, right? And so if that main console, that computer is destroyed, then they all stop working just because they're all interlinked through their minds, the hive mind.
Right. So that would make sense then. Thank you for saying that. So pretty much once Tony then destroyed the hive and and subsequently the
portal
was closed. They're disconnected from their hive mind, and then they are
And they all just fall to
Dead.
the ground.
Yeah.
Dead. Yes.
That's what they
because then I didn't want them to be machines. Do you know what I mean?
Right,
So
no, they're not
okay,
machines.
okay,
They
I'm
are-
cool with that then. All right,
Yeah.
I'm over it then.
Hive mind aliens.
You know what's really funny though is when Tony is having the very very snippy conversation with Loki. So they're in the Battle of New York, and Loki's chilling on the top of Stark Tower like, "This is my kingdom, y'all."
My tower.
And Iron Man rolls up, flies to his little, which I think that thing is so cool. He flies to the top of the tower, and the tower starts like taking all his armor off.
That's right. Yes.
I think that's really cool. So he's over here like, you really, again, excuse my language, pissed off the Avengers. And he's like, your brother, the demigod, the super soldier living legend, the man with breathtaking anger management issues, a couple of master assassins. And he's like, yes. And he's like, and you managed to piss them all off. And he's like, that's okay. I'm Loki. And he's like, but we have a Hulk. And then he said, and there's one more person you pissed off. His name was Phil. Like, oh, he was an
I know.
Avenger. So I think that
That
Phil,
man's name is Agent.
that was good.
So funny.
That was good stuff. But I'm pretty sure that
puny god.
I'm pretty sure that Phil was definitely an Avenger. He was just an unnamed Avenger.
Right. Yeah.
I dig it.
Uncredited.
Did we give Hulk enough credit yet? Because this is like.
No, we just gave him the
he's-
smash credit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he smashes all those giant like
The wormy,
shit,
the
those-
wormy
whales.
whales.
Yes.
yeah, those. And then the best scene with him is when he takes Loki and he whips him around like a Barbie doll. He's like, puny god.
It's so good because like that moment. I remember I went to see this movie in theaters probably 3 or 4 times when it first came out, and I don't think I heard him say the line "puny god" any of those times on this in theaters because everyone in the theater was dying laughing as Loki gets tossed and turned and smacked and swanked.
Well, and it's funny because that becomes an iconic moment. And of course, it becomes a callback
Yes,
in a later
'Cause
movie.
Loki is hurt by this.
Yes. Oh, Loki is like super. And it's funny because in other movies, he doesn't really talk a lot about this movie. He doesn't
Right.
really like think back to like, oh man,
Oh yeah,
you guys.
remember when I tried to take over the Earth?
Yeah, like you guys got me. No, he calls back to that specific moment where the Hulk has his leg, right?
Yeah.
And he's like flinging him
whipping
back
him
and
like a
forth.
ragdoll.
Like a pendulum back and forth opposite.
And then it's so funny because Loki's just laying there after, and he's like this.
well, and the look on his face too, it's like, ooh, didn't see that coming.
Oh, Hulk is stronger than I thought.
Yeah, exactly.
The Hulk is the
And
strongest
he's
one
just
there
like
is.
he's like talking to Hulk. He's like, bow down, be. He's like, I am a god, and he's like, meh, 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 meh. So good.
it's very good.
So good.
Ugh.
Fantastic.
Ooh.
Hey,
Ugh.
Luis, do you have a battle?
That's what I was going to ask. Dun 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 battle. Avengers battle.
All right, peeps. So really, rather than have a peeing contest about who is the strongest superhero and all this, I really want to have which is your favorite non-super powered character in this movie, excluding Son of Cole.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Who is
Because he was going to win.
who is
The
your
easy
favorite,
favorite.
and who's the most BA out of all of them?
Out of all of them, are we including Hawkeye and Black Widow in this?
All of the
All
non-powered,
non-powered.
I guess, characters in
Yes.
this movie, excluding Son of Cole.
Okay.
Okay,
let's,
so
let's
we
jump
have
through them.
Hawkeye, Black Widow,
Nick Fury,
Fury, Maria.
Hill,
Mariah.
Her name's
Hill.
Maria.
Maria Hill.
Stokes.
Mariah.
Stokes.
You got those three.
Bushmaster.
Those four.
Oh. Luke
Is there
Cage, y'all.
anyone else?
You got Galaga.
Gallagher guy,
You got Dr. Selvig.
Dr. Selvig.
Jarvis.
Jarvis.
Jarvis is
No, I won't count Jarvis in this because he's literally has 2 lines.
he's just an AI.
Hey,
I mean, okay. So
you need to shut your mouth.
Excuse me. Okay. In terms of those characters, who is my favorite? You know, I have a bigger fascination with Nick Fury in this movie. Just
Bless
the
you.
way that he orchestrates getting the Avengers together, and also like at first you kind of think like, oh, he's kind of a bad guy. He kind of like he's taking all these Phase 2 weapons and he's doing naughty stuff with them, and
He's
disobeying the Shield Council and stuff like that. But the faith in humanity that he has in all of the Avengers is like what really brings them together. Like that's the reason. It's because he knows that these people are good people that are going to help
regardless
save us.
of their flaws. They
Right.
are at the core.
At
they
their
know
core, they're good guys.
Yeah.
And that's what he wants S.H.I.E.L.D. to be. He wants them all to be good guys. That's why Coulson is his good eye, because Coulson is one of these good guys.
Yeah.
The
And,
OG good guy.
The OG good guy. Also,
Besides Cap.
he shoots at like a helicopter with a pistol in the beginning of the movie,
Which is so stupid.
It was stupid, but it was a valiant effort. And I
first he
appreciate
goes
it.
with a
No, it
bazooka.
wasn't.
He bazookas.
He bazookas and he gets the plane, but then he goes at it with another one with a pistol,
Pew, pew,
which
pew,
is
pew,
much
pew,
farther
pew.
away than the bazooka
Get
plane.
back here, pew pew.
Stupid.
Well, when you only have one good eye, you don't know.
You know,
you don't know. You have bad
The
depth
fact that
perception.
he's shooting that good with no depth perception at all is impressive.
I would know all about that. I'm a blind as a bat.
So I like Nick Fury.
You want to know my qualm with Nick Fury? Because I agree with every single thing you just said. I think that he is a very cool character, and in subsequent movies, S.H.I.E.L.D. becomes even more important than this movie.
Right.
And we see where S.H.I.E.L.D. falls flat, where S.H.I.E.L.D. is good, and all the different things that go with S.H.I.E.L.D. But he, at the core of it, like you said, is always in the best interest of humanity, not the people around the table,
Right.
but humanity as a whole, which is really, I guess when you're in that kind of like high up position, you have to be less concerned with your friends and your family.
Like petty nonsense.
Yeah.
His goal is protect the earth.
Yeah,
And that's-
which is-
by any means.
I can imagine that would be awful.
Yeah.
Like an awful
It's
job.
not a good job.
No. But you want to know what my problem with him is? You know what it is.
His eye?
No. I don't mind his one eye.
Is it Samuel L?
He is always yelling in movies.
Samuel L. Jackson.
He got hired for a very specific reason.
You know what?
It's,
He has snakes on a plane.
It's to yell.
He got snakes on trains. I just it's Samuel L. Jackson that bothers me. It's just because he is so Samuel L. Jackson that sometimes I can't like focus on the content because I'm so wrapped up in Samuel L. Jackson.
That's how
You
I-
got that credit card, put it in your pocket. Like, oh my
That's how
god.
I felt about Maria. All I could see was Robin.
Yeah. No, I agree. I
Sure.
agree.
But-
It's hard when you have famous people in these roles.
Right.
But the only saving grace of this whole thing is something we talked about earlier I think it was in the first episode we did, but Marvel has done such a good job keeping the same actors in the same roles throughout the entirety of this 10-year run
Yeah.
of Marvel so far
20 movies.
that
Well, they recast once.
They've
Well,
recast a couple of times.
but not like huge characters so that you end up believing it. Like now Nick Fury's just a freaking yeller. It like now I'm okay with it, but I remember watching it and being like, dude, Samuel, calm down. But I agree with you. He's a great character.
So you're going with Nick Fury?
I'm going with Nick Fury on this one, yes.
Furry. Go ahead.
Furry.
I'm going with Romanoff. Nothing beats Romanoff to me.
Yeah.
She proves herself in every single movie from here on out. Like she just gets cooler and cooler and cooler, and I can't wait for her
Solo
prequel
movie.
movie, for her origin story. Homegirl's been through a lot, and she is so cool. She and May from S.H.I.E.L.D. are like my favorite woman characters ever. Like I really like powerful woman characters that can just beat the crap out of anybody and tell the dudes to stop, arguing with each other. She's like, come on. Like, she's just always one step ahead. I love her.
Yeah.
It's Romanoff.
I agree. I'm going to go with Romanoff too because just like Michelle said, I think that she has the most character development from point A to point really Z
Right.
in all of these movies. A lot of the other characters, like you find out backstory on them, but like their character doesn't develop. Like, I'm sorry. I know you guys all love Captain America, and I'm not saying I don't like him, but from this angle, he doesn't develop. He literally is like old homeboy,
Not in
right?
this movie yet.
No. But even through all the movies,
I see what you're saying.
His character doesn't really grow. Like you don't expand on him
Because
like
he's been goody two shoes since moment one, and he continues on.
He gets
being
hotter,
goody
though.
two-shoes.
Yeah, I mean, he grows a beard,
Grows
and
a
I'm
beard.
okay with it, But
Gets a new
but the
shield.
character doesn't expand. Like I don't even care if he continues to be good. I just want some breadth.
Sure.
But I understand that for him, breadth with a D. I don't know, when I say that, people do not hear the D. I'm not saying breath. Anyhow, but so for her, you see all of her like baggage she comes with, and she still does the right thing.
Yeah.
And I like that she's able to be like yelling and in your face, but she can also be intimate, and she can also have like that moment where
loves a hokey.
Yeah, I mean, she's able to like be a full circle woman while she's still like a master assassin.
Right. She beats the crap out of Hawkeye, and then in the next scene she has with him, she's like taking care of him in bed.
Yeah.
She had to beat the
Best
crap
friend.
out of it.
Yeah, no, that's
But
what
she's
I'm
like I really enjoy
Cognitive
that.
recalibration.
yeah.
And you know what I really appreciate
Knocked him
is
upside
that
the head.
she was the one to close the portal.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
she, even though she like is the least capable to like get up to the top of the building and do all these things,
Right.
like she gets up there and she's the one that's like, dudes, I figured it out. Like she helped figure out how to close it.
When homegirl's like, Cap, throw me up, I'm gonna hitch a ride, and she just gets on the Chitauri like little things that they're driving, I was like, oh, she could fall. She got no powers. Like
Right,
she's dead
yeah.
if she falls. She's like the bravest out of all of them.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
like, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
To be
Like, she
brave
doesn't-
without that kind of fail safe is very, very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So I agree. I'm gonna go Romanoff. She's on top of the interrogation skills that we talked about. She da bomb.
She is so cool.
Very good.
I
Looks
gotta
good in
give-
that suit.
And
I
she
gotta
looks
give
good in that
honorable
suit.
mentions to Romanov and Hawkeye because you're pretty much standing toe to toe with like strong super beings.
Yeah.
So it takes a BA
Hawkeye
to know a BA.
is super cool too.
But I'm gonna go with Dr. Selvig.
Dr. Sylvie.
Now the reason why is because you're talking about someone who doesn't have powers, who all he has is a PhD, and this guy is pretty much giving a entity out of that you would only make in your dreams, and pretty much finding out how it works,
Right.
and identifying how
Yeah.
it works. And guys so dang smart that even while he was being controlled, I'm not sure if he had some kind of control over his brainwashing, but he created the
fail-safe.
failsafe. I'm not sure if that's a scientist in him.
Yeah, I think it is.
I
Just
think
like,
it's the
well,
scientist.
I have to prepare for all possibilities here, and even if I'm making this evil portal to an alien invasion, I should still be able to turn it
Yeah.
off.
But think about it, though. I think I understand that scientists, and I don't want to say that the rest of us are stupid, but for scientists, you have to have a healthy dose of belief in other things, because that's like your exploratory nature, right, as a
Right.
scientist. But he literally saw Thor come down in other movies because he was a big part in like Thor 2, right? Thor was he in
He
Thor
was in
1
Thor
too?
1, yeah.
So he was in
Yeah.
both. And then you literally see him just like, all right, let's do this alien
Yeah.
thing. Like he takes it in stride, and like Louis said, he's able to like wrap his mind around this complete alien technology,
Right.
something he has zero knowledge about, understand its energy signatures, understand like what the breadth of what that could mean.
He got it to make it work with Earth machines,
which
Yeah,
is
pretty
kinda
much.
cray-cray.
I mean, like, let's be real. He created those weapons.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for him, then those weapons would not be created.
So pretty much he's able to create a casing for an Infinity Stone, like to be able to wield it. Because if you're able to use weapons, that means you're able to wield it. That's insane. Like, good for him.
Dr. Selvig.
Yeah.
And I like-
Plus, I like his development throughout all of the MCUs.
Right,
He's
like-
very smart. He, I'm not sure if he goes nuts temporarily.
He gets,
no, he's-
okay, so he gets taken over by Loki in this movie, and then as a repercussion of that in Thor 2, he goes like
goes
crazy.
nuts.
And he's
But
like,
doesn't he come
he's
back?
like naked. Yeah, at the end of Thor 2, he's...
Oh, so Thor 2 hasn't happened yet?
No.
Oh, you're right.
No,
You're
no,
right.
no,
You're
He
right.
comes back in another movie, like fixed, or at least they go and talk to him. Really
Yes, yes,
quickly.
I think
do.
that's Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
Age of Ultron,
Mhm.
and he's back. Talk about a guy who's like
Yeah,
been through.
he's gone through it.
PTSD. I mean, Tony
Yeah.
Stark could just suck it up. I mean, Dr. Selvig pretty much was running around naked
Yeah,
in his
at Stonehenge.
work.
Oh yeah.
Well,
And it's interesting too because I enjoy how in subsequent movies he and Agent Barton Hawkeye, they both have their like share of trauma
Right.
from being mind controlled for that amount of time. And I think that's really cool that they're able to do that because it's not like you could just be controlled for how long do you think?
Probably at
A long
least
time.
Weeks.
maybe
A
like a
week.
week or two.
Yeah,
Week.
right? To be controlled to do all of these nasty things and for you to feel like such a strong-willed individual and you have no control.
Right.
Like that would be a very scary situation.
Yeah,
It's
no
like a
control
kill
of your
grave.
body.
It's like
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Barton said, "Have you ever felt somebody push you out and then kind of like
Stuff
literally
themselves in.
pushed you out of
Out
your
of your
body,
brain, yeah.
and then having to assume control back again?"
And this
That's-
is why
he said that's
Romanoff
how it
is
felt.
cool because she says, "Yeah, because she got brainwashed her entire childhood
Right.
into being an assassin.
So she
She
knows.
gets it. She knows.
You know what's really cool too? I read about Hawkeye's character. So apparently in the comic books, he is ambidextrous. So he does his shooting from both sides, right and left.
Yeah.
And Jeremy Renner is not ambidextrous. So for him, he had to learn how to do both. And he's actually seen shooting in both
Yeah.
directions in all the movies he's
and
in.
right-handed, which is awesome.
But hold on. Their intern may be a flaw. Crossbows, are they made
His is.
ambidextrously?
His
His
is.
Or-
Well, yeah, his I believe you could be wielded in either hand.
His has like the thing on either side. So normally, like your crossbow has like a hand grip on one side. His has it on both.
Yeah.
So I don't know how he holds it when he's doing it the other way, but he's able to
Indented.
go back
It's
and
a
forth.
pretty
both
techie
sides.
crossbow.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. So I
Yeah.
thought that was a pretty cool little thing that he was
That
able
is
to
cool.
do that.
I mean, Fitzsimmons made it, so yeah, of course. it is,
Right.
That's
Of course
true.
they did.
That's
Compound
true.
bow.
Hey guys,
What?
you want to get some shawarma after this?
Shawarma scene. Great,
Shawarma
good
scene.
stuff. That was the first
It's a
second.
very good Easter egg scene.
It's the first second post credits
Yes.
scene where they have like a serious one and then they have like the lighthearted one.
I never
which
saw the
is-
shawarma scene until we watched it together because there was already one post-credit scene, so then I just left the movie theater.
Which is really funny because you weren't ready for
Right.
two.
Exactly.
Like a lot of people, I remember watching those types, like early Marvel. Can you stop? I remember watching. Can you stop? I remember watching. Louis just told me to focus on myself. We weren't ready for post-credit scenes, so I
Right.
know a lot of those early movies, you would just walk out and then you look around and like, why are people just sitting there,
Yeah.
right?
Or
And then
you
the
hear about
second
it
one.
later.
Now it's a thing. You stay till the end on a Marvel movie.
I'm like waiting until the end of Disney movies now too. Like, you know what? There
Yeah.
might be a scene.
Andre waits the end of like every movie. I'm like, babe, this is a scary movie. There's no He's like, you don't know that?
Yeah.
You,
know.
you really don't know though.
You don't know what's
Because
going on.
Moana had one and nobody knew. Like, you know what? I'm
Right?
staying. I just love it. So the really cool. Let's talk about those post-credit scenes because I actually have some really interesting things. And Luis actually brought up a really good one. I was very proud of him.
Oh, okay,
Look
go
at him
ahead.
doing his thing. So the first post-credit scene is the first showing of angry purple-faced Thanos.
He is so ugly right now.
And it's really interesting because it's one of his advisors talking to him and saying,
I think it's one of his child. You know, he
It's-
has the children. Of
Yes.
It's the
Thanos?
dude that's in this movie, the other.
Yes.
That's his name.
Oh.
So what he says, I mean, he says quite a few different things. He's talking to Thanos, pretty much telling them like what happened. But it's really interesting because this is exactly the word that she uses. To challenge them, meaning humans, is to court death.
Yeah, dude.
So, Louis, what did you say to me after we heard that?
Original comic book Infinity Wars, Thanos is trying to impress Death.
Death is personified by like a woman in robes, and Thanos is madly in love with her. And he's like, please, baby, please, what can I do for you? And she's like, kill everybody. He's like, okay, I'm on it. And so
She
to
says kill half the universe, not everybody.
court Death, he
kills half the universe.
He wants to kill all the stuff.
So that's
he
his
can get with
motivation
Death. Yes.
for doing quote unquote Infinity War, at least in our minds, like that would be the equivalent. So it's really interesting. The wording he uses is to challenge them is to court death because courting,
and he's
you know,
like,
Right.
okay.
and he's
So
like,
I would
you know,
love to.
I would love to court some death. Thank you.
It's like kind of a Easter egg / spinoff to the original comics. But here's
Yeah.
my question: in Feigel's and all of his cronies' minds,
cronies.
was this the original idea,
So I don't.
and then it evolved
Uh,
into helping the universe?
I think in Feige's mind, it definitely was like he wanted to eventually get to Thanos. But I think for the
they
rest,
didn't really know it was going to happen at
right?
that
I
point.
think for the rest of Marvel Studios and their plans going forward, I don't think they necessarily thought that they would get to Thanos necessarily. You know, it was like
Because-
high hopes.
It's funny because I read, and I'm not sure how true this is because a lot of times when you read, things online, you gotta know that there's some speculation that's in
Sure.
it. But it originally said that the director had just thought that Thanos was the coolest villain, and so that's why he put him at the end of the film, being like, "Ooh,
This is cool, right?
like he's cool. Let's just do it." So maybe that's true. Maybe they just hadn't thought that far ahead. I mean, obviously the idea of a supervillain was out there, but maybe he wasn't the original
'Cause
supervillain. Who
if-
knows?
he
if
just
you-
smiles in this one. He doesn't say anything.
Right, if you
and
think
I
about
remember
it-
when I saw it, I was like, who?
Exactly. Before this
Majority of
movie,
people.
only nerds knew who Thanos was.
Right.
And now,
Nobody knew.
And now in 2018, everyone on Earth knows who Thanos is.
Yeah, because we all went and saw if we died or not.
Yeah, exactly. And and that's fascinating to me. The work that they've done to build up this ancillary character.
It's a close toss-up between Loki and Thanos. They're very complex villains to me, and I thoroughly enjoy both of them.
Right.
But at this point in time, I was like, okay, cool, purple dude. I don't
Purple
care.
jaw. All I could remember was the ridges in the jaw. Like, that's all I could remember.
I remember in the theater people seeing Thanos and then going like, who's that?
Yeah, exactly.
Literally the same reaction I had at the end of the Infinity War post-credit scene. My dad looked at me and was like, huh?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing. Like, Marvel's very good at introducing characters that aren't necessarily popular, like Doctor Strange. Let's be real.
Iron Man was not popular,
and nobody knew who Doctor
2008.
Strange was either. Like, but now we love him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're really good at. They're master storytellers. They really are.
Meanwhile, DC can't even get Superman right. All right.
Hold on, let's
Hey,
talk about.
Teen Titans.
Hold on.
are coming, right?
Yeah, dude.
So
Yeah, Andre really
We
wants
still
to
have
see
hope.
that. You guys can go together. Don't worry.
I wanted to talk about the other
Shawarma?
the other post-credit scene, the shawarma place.
love that.
I thought this was really funny. I read this. So apparently, none of them are talking, which is really funny. You can
'Cause
just
they're
tell
so freaking
they're so tired
tired.
and everything they're eating. But this is funny because Chris Evans is not eating in the post-credit scenes because he's wearing a fake jaw.
Yes.
And I wrote this and
There's
I
a
read this.
prosthetic on.
I was
He's like
what in the
sleeping.
world?
He's just like this.
Right. So I'm going to read this. Did you ever wonder why Captain America isn't eating in the post-credit shawarma scene? I'm pretty sure nobody wondered that, but I'm just going to share. It's because by the time this scene was shot, Chris Evans was filming Snowpiercer and refused to shave off his beard. Instead, the crew created him a prosthetic jaw, but he was unable to eat or talk during the scene. This is also why he's covering his face with his fist.
Yes.
He's literally just like resting on his hand. Like,
Which
oh.
He also
actually
had a shaved head at the time, so he's wearing a wig.
It totally works, though.
A cap
Like,
wig.
it's
Yeah.
hilarious.
I will say that, oh God, why am I saying this? I like Iron Man when he says stupid quippy things like that. Like, come on. After the battle, you're like, guys want to go get some shawarma?
Guys want to go get some shawarma after
Like,
this?
Which
really
is
good
hilarious
shawarma
because the
place over there.
shawarma like scene, like you see them fighting in front of the shawarma
Yeah.
place,
Yes.
which is why it's funny.
So I like Iron Man when he does things like that, which are stupid but not related to really anything.
Well, and
like, it's
here's-
just random.
Well, here's another one. This is one of the things I love about him. So apparently Robert Downey Jr., and I've heard this before, hid food all over the lab
Yes.
set. So in the lab scene where him and Cap are like fighting, or he's in there with Bruce Banner, he pretty much just hid food all over the set.
He's just eating it.
So any time that he's eating in that scene is all him literally eating.
He's not supposed to be eating.
No, it's not in the
He's hungry.
it wasn't
just
scripted. So he's like, blueberry? And he's just like
Yeah.
giving like people food, and it's not scripted, but is it not Tony Stark?
Right. It's,
Yeah,
it's
it is.
very, very much his character.
So
which
then you
Well,
wonder.
Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark.
Well, I was
to
going to
me.
say, so then
like-
you wonder, like, how much different is his real personality if he's just over here like, blueberry? You know?
He's funny.
hiding snacks.
Let's
That's
talk some more
fantastic.
about him. This is one I really thought was cool. So, in a lot of the other movies with Iron Man, you see him in what Joss Whedon calls the Tinkerbell pose.
Right,
So,
where he's like flying and his hands are out at his sides.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
his
yeah,
gauntlets are helping him fly.
right? So he has like the little what do you call that? Like
They're
his
like
jetpacks
that- yeah,
are
yeah,
in
yeah.
his
On his
hands.
His
hands.
repulsor rays.
So
in his
he
hands.
presses away, and he literally, I never would have thought of that, but he looks like Tinkerbell. So Joss Whedon was like, that's ugly
Let's
and
end
stupid.
that.
We're not doing that. So then he was more jetpack powered than he was hand powered
Yeah.
from then on,
He's
which I
powered
think
by
is
his back and his feet.
Yeah, he definitely. Okay, Andre and I talked about this. All of their costumes and the way they look in this movie is so early. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't seen Captain America in his actual Captain America suit in a while.
Oh, my
with
gosh.
his actual shield.
I-
I was like, what the heck is he wearing? Like, okay.
It almost looks like he's wearing a Halloween costume.
He
Well,
has a baby face.
that's the
He's
thing.
extremely skinny in this movie. Like, I thought he was buff in this movie. No, he ain't.
no,
like,
he's wearing a freaking padded Halloween costume.
Yeah.
I like that costume because it looks like a Halloween costume because Coulson like helped design it. He was like, "Oh, I helped with the suit." And
Yeah.
that's because he's this huge fanboy. He's like, "Oh, he's gonna have the stars and the stripes over here, and
It's
your
true,
helmet
though.
with the wings on the side."
Oh, yeah.
I
It's-
love that outfit though. Like that
Yeah.
was like that's OG Captain America to me. Like
It's
I love
quite
it.
hilarious.
Even Thor with his long hair. Like I remember I was so pissed when in the Ragnarok trailers he had no hair. I was like, no, you cannot cut off his hair. But now I'm so used to it that I was like, oh, you got long hair. What the heck's going on?
It's funny
He's got
though,
a cape.
but it's funny that you say that because their outfits and their demeanors really do go with what we were talking about earlier. How they're still stuck in their like native colloquialisms.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
there is not one line in this movie where Thor doesn't sound like he's 100% from Asgard.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He is like everything he says
Or
is
even that-
thou not brother.
Right.
How did you betray us?
And there's not one moment where Cap doesn't seem like he's from 1945.
100%.
Yeah.
And this, I forget. Like, I love Captain America, but I forget how very, like Andre said, like, good little boy
Yeah.
he is.
They're both. They're
Until I
both.
saw this again, I was like, oh, dang, Captain, get it together.
They're both playing that like fish out of water role.
But I
Yeah.
in this
appreciate
movie,
it. I think
which
it's
is-
hilarious.
It's very cool.
But this is my favorite outfit of Loki, though, because he actually is wearing his, like, giant headpiece.
Yes, horns.
His giant horns, and he has his scepter and stuff.
I thought he looked like a battering ram.
Mm.
What do you think it looks like? Because I get the impression of a ram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I just
it's
always think they're
rammy.
his horns.
Or like a demon, I guess.
Oh, I guess.
It's mischievous. Mischievous.
Mischievous.
Reindeer now. Now I
Yeah.
can't get that out of my mind.
Reindeer.
There's a reindeer
I
thing
love,
over here.
and my favorite thing to do is meet Andre and I. One of our favorite things is meeting the Marvel characters in the parks.
At Disneyland.
And then, so at California Adventure, and we ask them things to, like, see if we're going to trip them up. Because if you don't pay attention to all of the movies, like, and you're a character in the parks, some nerds are going to come in and they're going to ask you something. You're going to slip up. That's us, right? Like, we're those nerds coming in trying
Yeah.
to ask them things.
I
Embarrassing.
think we
So
may
I
have
think
given
about
like
this
some Infinity
movie-
War spoilers to
Yeah,
one of them
we
at one
did.
point.
Or after, I don't know if it was after, it was after Civil War. We saw Captain America. And we were like, "Where's Bucky?" Like, I didn't even say hi to Captain America. I was just like, "Where's Bucky?"
I said hi.
He said hi. I didn't. I was like all up in his
That's
face.
rude.
I was like, "Where's Bucky?"
Why don't we be nice to
And
Cap?
He
I
told
shook
me.
his
He
hand.
kind of told me. He was like, "Oh, he's off somewhere. You know." I forget
Chilling
what he
on
said, but
ice.
he knew where
Yeah.
he was. But you know, some of them are dead and they're in the parks now. So I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Wow.
I'm gonna see him and be like,
Hey,
What
hey,
happened?
no spoilers,
Yeah,
Michelle.
chill.
We talked about this.
whatever,
Nobody's dead.
whatever. But anyways, if you need a pastime, just go to California Adventure and ask the
need a
Marvel characters
pastime.
questions and try to trip them up. It's great.
Or you could just do normal Disney things like
Yeah.
normal people.
What is the normal Disney thing that normal people do?
No.
You can't meet Iron Man in the parks, or else I would call him the sassy pants. I'd be like, "You're a sassy pants."
Sassy pants.
He'd be like, "I know."
He is
He's
sassy
like,
pants.
yeah, I created these sassy pants.
Speaking of sassy pants, do you know why he's wearing a Black Sabbath tee in the TV show, in the movie?
Why?
I do.
Because Black Sabbath has a song called Iron Man.
How come all of your fun fact Easter eggs are about Iron Man?
It's not my fault.
We
It's
should've
not
given-
my fault. I'm
we
the
should've
Easter
given
egg
this-
queen.
We should have given this job to someone else.
No, do you want? Okay, you want to hear a non-Iron Man one?
Sure.
So Harry Dean Stanton replays his classic role in Alien here in this movie.
Yeah, dude.
So when Hulk falls from the sky and he degreens and is buck naked, right? And he's down inside of, it looks like a warehouse, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harry Dean Stanton comes up and is like, "Are you an alien?" And that's a nod to his role when he was in the movie Alien.
I need to see the movie Alien.
It's
I
good.
think I would really like it. I love it.
You won't ever want to have a kid, right? Because isn't that the one where it's like coming out of the stomach like?
Yeah. Gets a little.
It's fine, but I
alien
like alien
impregnated.
stuff. It's fine.
Impregnated by an alien.
Alien does pop out.
No,
That just
thank you.
reminds me
No
of freaking
C-section.
Infinity War when Spider-Man's like, don't put your eggs in me, don't put your eggs in me.
So disgusting. Oh my god.
I
stop.
freaking love Spider-Man. Oh, it's so
Do you want
good.
another one?
Yes.
Yeah.
See, I got some that are non-Iron
okay.
Man related. So the bridge of the ship on the helicarrier, when you look at it, it's like a big semicircle. And apparently the monitors, the way that everything is, what do you call it? Oriented is supposed to look and resemble the SHIELD logo. So I'm going to show you a picture. So if you look at it, the wings are supposed to be off to the side. The center is the middle
Yeah,
of the
I see
bird. And then the top is where the conference room table is. And that's where the head of the eagle
Pretty good.
is
That's cool.
supposed to be.
We want to talk about the best callback of this movie
Sure.
when Captain America gives a Nick Fury $10.
Oh my gosh, that was funny. Will you
I bet you
explain? Because that's
$10.
really
So funny.
In the beginning, when Nick Fury is coming to recruit Captain America in the gym, where Captain America is just destroying punching bags.
and picking them up over his shoulder like they're nothing.
Yeah, like they're nothing. He's very strong. He goes. I bet you $10. There's nothing you can show me that I haven't seen yet.
Or
And
that would surprise me.
that would surprise me, yes. And then as soon as Cap sees that the aircraft carrier they're on is actually a helicarrier, He's like, okay, $10.
You want to know?
Because they
Immediately.
thought it was a submarine at first. They thought
That's
that they
right.
were going underwater,
Is
and
this
then
a
it
submarine?
started like
I know, and
flies.
Hulk was like, "This is dumb," and then when it flies, he's like, "This is even dumber." So funny. Also, my favorite thing about Captain America in this movie, I can't get enough of him. The way he dresses, even when he's not in his Captain America suit, he's wearing like really old pants with like his shirt tucked in and a
His
giant
pants are
belt.
up very high. His belt is
Oh, the-
gigantic.
He's literally still dressing like he's in 1945.
His
So
flannel
funny.
is old. I don't know where they found these clothes for him.
It's hilarious. A pawn shop from the
So
50s.
Yeah,
funny.
somebody's grandpa's closet.
That's hilarious.
Somebody's grandpa's closet.
Okay, I have a couple more.
Okay.
This one's cool. So in the attack on New York City, real military police were used in the scene because they
Oh.
wanted to make it look a little bit more, a little less CGI'd. So they used real military police.
That's cool.
This is one thing that actually bothered me, but it was for a reason. So did you notice that Pepper Potts, Tony Stark's GF, is always freaking barefoot?
I wrote something about her
That drove,
shorts.
and her. I hate that outfit. It's just
Yeah.
like it's
I
shorts
was
and
like,
a t-shirt.
Did she just come back from a rodeo or something like that?
Seriously.
Why is she wearing this outfit?
Well, I just feel like it's not. Anywho, whatever about her outfit, but she's always barefoot, and that bothers me. You want to know why? It's because she's taller than Robert Downey Jr.
is
Robert Downey
tiny.
Jr. is very small.
So when they're standing next to each other with her with no shoes on, they put implants in his shoes to make him look taller. And look at this picture
The
of
homies
them
got
next
on
to each other.
4-inch platforms at all times when he's next to Gwyneth Paltrow, so that he can
It's
be
not
taller
his
than
fault.
her.
He's tiny.
I know. Well, that's what I always thought it was stupid that she was barefoot. I'm like, that is weird.
Right.
Like, you never see barefoot people in movies like
movies,
this.
yeah.
But yeah, it's because she's tall and he's not. Another good one is that. So we talk about Bruce Banner being under pressure literally when he gets on this helicarrier, right? Well, when they both get knocked down into
When Banner and Black Widow get knocked off.
they get like into some undercarrier part of the ship.
Yeah.
If you look on the floor, it says it's painted "Warning: Contents under pressure," and there's little small arrows pointing, and they're pointing right to Bruce Banner as
Funny.
turning into Hulk, which I think is really funny.
Pressure.
Yeah, he's under pressure.
I'm always angry.
Another good one is that this movie had to be rewritten multiple times, or
Yeah.
at least the death scene of Coulson had to be rewritten multiple times or reshot multiple times because they kept giving it an R rating.
This movie was rated R
What?
because
Yes.
of Coulson's death. Like it kept showing the knife or whatever bursting through
Scepter.
his chest. Yeah, the scepter that he gets stabbed with bursting through his chest, and the MPAA was like, no. We
They
can't have
were
that.
going to give it an R rating.
That would have been fine for this time, I feel like.
Well, they wanted to make sure that it was still an most audience type movie.
Right.
So they literally had to redo it multiple times so that particular scene was not as gory and not as
explicit. Graphic.
explicit,
Interesting.
even though he died. So they show him getting killed off scene with a sound, and then you see it.
Yeah.
So it's not like a full on thing, which I thought that was really, yeah, right. I thought that was really interesting. And lastly, this one is really funny. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
So I'm going to read it because I don't want to paraphrase.
Okay.
If not for a delay in sending Daredevil #1 to the printer, we're talking about, do you know this already?
No.
Oh, you're rolling your eyes. So this is comic books, okay?
Okay.
So if not for the delay of Daredevil 1 being sent to the printer, the Avengers might not have ever existed. According to Marvel's senior vice president of publishing, when the publisher realized that the first issue of Daredevil wasn't going to be ready in time for its scheduled print, Stan Lee proposed the idea of bringing a bunch of existing Marvel characters together to form a team like DC's Justice League of America. By doing so, they wouldn't need to create a complicated backstory for all of the characters coming together, which would allow the squad to jump right into whatever adventure Lee and Kirby could come up with on short notice. The pair brainstormed for a while and came up with the Avengers, then hastily put together the first issue and sent it off to the printer.
That's awesome. I didn't know that it was because of a delay with Daredevil. That's hilarious.
That's what I was
to
rolling.
me.
Oh, that it was Daredevil.
Yeah.
I think that's hilarious. So
That's awesome.
And you know what's really cool about that? And I have to give DC some credit. I'm going to give them a little bit of credit, which is like,
sure.
what? But I like that. I mean, everyone, I think, because Marvel's so big right now, they think that like Marvel's the best.
Right.
But FYI, DC was doing their thing at the exact same time, and they were killing it.
Straight up.
And the fact that they have Justice League, and I'm not talking about the movies, but the fact that like the comics are killing it, and then they come out with the Justice League, and then Marvel's like, dude, we're scrambling,
Yeah.
and they literally do the exact same thing. It's kind of a nice thing to know, because then it's not always that Marvel's the best. They just did a better. They're lucky that they did a better job with their movies.
With their movies, yeah. My respect level for Marvel and DC in terms of comics is exactly the same. They're both top of the line, great stuff. They both have their flaws all the time, but they're exactly equal in my mind. But the movies, there's an obvious disparity.
Hot garbage.
There is a disparity between
Besides
the
Wonder
two.
Woman.
See?
Right? Yeah. Also,
Well, and that's why one has a universe and one has a good movie.
yes, exactly. Also, fun fact: as of this recording, Ant-Man and the Wasp just came out this weekend.
Yes,
And
I like this. I know what you're going to say.
And so now, for the first time ever, all of the founding Avengers have been represented on live action screen. The founding Avengers are Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Ant-Man, and the Wasp. That's it.
Really?
These are the
Yep.
5 that started the Avengers. Captain America was still frozen in ice until issue number 4 of the Avengers. And Ant-Man and the Wasp are founding members.
And the Romanoff was actually ended up replacing the Wasp because she already was established in this universe,
In
and
the
they
movie,
didn't want to
yeah.
bring in all these other freaking characters
Yeah.
to try to explain them in this movie.
There are drafts of this script that have the Wasp in it. Ant-Man and the Wasp, I assume, rather than Black Widow.
Interesting.
Yeah. Cool stuff.
I love it. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
I enjoy the fact that they're ancillary characters in later movies, and they're kind of like fringe characters, but that allows them to have better backstory,
Right.
you know, in their own movies, which is really cool.
Very cool
How
stuff.
much money does this movie make?
Oh, boy. This movie.
Every time we talk about Marvel money, I'm like, mm-hmm.
Yeah. This one especially, because this movie had a budget of $220 million. Okay? Budget was $220 million. Its first weekend in the U.S., it made $207 million. So it almost made
Joey Willikers.
almost made all of his money back in the first weekend. Its gross in the United States ended up being $623 million, and it now has a cumulative worldwide gross of $1,519 million.
Must
You're
be nice.
welcome.
1.5 bill.
Must be nice.
I believe it is number 3 on the list of all time box office.
Is Infinity War top now?
Yes, actually, I believe you're right. Yeah, it has changed ever since. Yeah, it's like Star Wars: The Force Awakens, Titanic, Avatar,
Titanic.
Avengers, and then Avengers: Infinity War. Is that
Oh
right?
my God.
I don't have it in front of me.
Titan.
But yeah, that's
That just cracks me
that's
up.
basically it.
Titanic, Avatar. I can't.
Oh, my
All right,
gosh.
we ready to rate this puppy?
Hold on, we didn't talk about my favorite scene.
Oh.
We didn't.
No.
What's your
And
favorite
it's
scene?
not even like a conversation. I just have to throw it out there.
Okay.
My favorite thing that they have done in all the Marvel movies now is a collective fighting pan scene where
Yes.
where one character will be, and it's not just like a fighting scene where everyone's just doing their thing. It's like a pan where one character will be doing a thing and then they either go right or left, whatever. It's usually like in a circle sometimes.
Oh, yeah,
and they'll
yeah, yeah.
start with one character and they do something that helps the other character like jump off like Captain
Yeah,
America's
yeah,
shield.
yeah, yeah.
And then Hawkeye jumps and punches someone who then gets kicked by so-and-so.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, those are my favorites.
It's very reminiscent of comics on the double page spread, where most pages are just one single page with the panels and the borders and stuff like that. But then every once in a while you get a double page spread. It's just one huge art piece of everybody fighting at the same time, and it's always awesome. And
I
it's even
love
more
those.
awesome in the movies.
And it's so cool because it's almost like, and it's funny that you say that because it literally looks like if you took a picture, it would be everyone in action all at the same
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
It's so cool. My favorite one that they do is the one in Age of Ultron, which is the second Avengers
Right.
movie.
It's like in the beginning, right?
No, it's at the end when they're going around
that's
the
right.
portal thing with Ultron.
Yes.
But
Captain America's flipping around.
yeah,
The
yeah.
Cap is so cool
Visions
when he
there.
fights.
and black, red lady widow. What is she?
Black,
The
red,
Scarlet Witch.
Lady Widow.
Scarlet Witch be doing her witchy things.
Black Red Lady Widow.
It's confusing because it's a Scarlett Johansson, a Black Widow, and a Scarlet Witch, and it's just all
Thank
mixed up
you for
together.
understanding why it's so confusing. My God.
Elizabeth Olsen.
And they
But
both
seriously.
are from Russia.
Point
Yes.
being, the pan scenes like that. I usually am not huge on like CGI fight scenes, but those ones are my favorite because it's just so cool how to get all of them to do something together that really is cinematically quite
CGI
magical.
fight scenes aren't my favorite either. Like, even in Infinity War, I was like, but they're growing on me.
I mean,
I usually like when it like will pan to a girl fight. I'm like, oh yeah, girl fight. That's when I get excited. I'm like, oh, girl fight.
All right, should we do ratings?
Yeah, go for it.
I'll rate.
hold on, no. Tell us what percentages
Rotten
and stuff.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Tomatoes.
Give me some S.
Luis, get your booty over here to give us a rating.
on
Stop playing Black Ops.
on IMDb, it has an 8.1 out of 10,
Okay.
which is pretty good. On Metacritic, it only has a 66 out of 100, or 69, excuse me, on Metacritic.com. That's interesting. That's surprising.
But I mean,
What
this
did
is
I see
over
that had
time,
What is
right?
the one
Like-
that I had? That I saw one that had a 91%.
Is it because that's Rotten Tomatoes is
Yes.
92?
On Rotten Tomatoes is 92.
Okay, there you go.
Audience score 91. But is this like cumulative over time, or is this just like when the movie came out? Because this movie came out so long ago in the Marvel universe that like the scores could have gone down because people like the newer movies better.
Oh, so Rotten Tomatoes, it's a cumulative score of critics' reviews at the time that the movie comes out.
Okay,
I believe.
okay.
Yes. So it's all from 2012.
Gotcha.
And I guess some people could be like the audience score could go down because people are reviewing it now, but I'm pretty sure it's all
Okay.
mostly from 2012 when this came out.
Well,
All right.
I'm going to kind of agree with them. I'm going to give this movie a 9. It's a good Marvel movie. I tend to like the individual movies better than the team-up movies, just me personally, because then I like can really connect with like one character, and then I'll connect with another character. I just don't like Iron Man. If he wasn't in there, it'd be a
It would've
10.
been a
No,
10.
I'm just kidding.
If it was Iron Man,
it's a
it
9.
would've been a 10.
This is the first team-up movie. It's still pretty solid. The Avengers movies just keep on getting crazier and better with time. As with I almost think the Captain America movies are like team-up movies, really.
Yeah.
So I kind of get them confused sometimes.
Yeah, Civil War, not Civil. Well, no,
Yeah,
Civil
Civil
War
War.
too.
Even Age
The
of
first
Ultron.
one, no. Well, that one was the Avengers. The
Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier is the one that I always think is
Is an
a
Avengers
movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Because there's like
Because that's
multiple people.
Sokovia, right?
No, that's Age of
No,
Ultron.
that's Age of Ultron.
Well, anyways, they still even Captain America: Civil War to me that was an Avenger movie.
Right.
True.
Like, so I kind of get them confused, but all of those movies they just get better and better with time, and this was like the OG one. So
Yeah.
9 out of 10.
Ish. I'm also going to give it a 9. It's crazy fun, this movie. Very, very fun. Lots of jokes, like
Yes.
miles per minute. Bunch of jokes in this movie. All the action is great. Like it's very exciting action. All the action scenes, including when Nick Fury is shooting a helicopter with a pistol. It's all awesome. It's all fun. All the acting is good. The writing, as we said, is very sharp and very quick-witted. My only problem with it is that it's not as good as some of the movies that have come after it.
Yeah, see, that's why it's hard for me to like. If we think about this culmination of movies, it's massive, and it's hard for me to take my mind back to the beginning ones and forget all of the ones that have just came out. So I'm like,
Sure.
all right, Infinity War is
but
a
if you-
10 out of 10, then this movie's a 9. Like I'd think of it that way, but I have to try to like forget all that.
I would not give Infinity War a 10.
No,
out of 10.
I was just giving a
No,
metaphor.
I understand
Yeah,
what you're
yeah.
saying. So okay, I agree. I'm gonna give it a 9 as well,
Okay.
and agreeing with you guys across the board. I think that this movie set the stage for everything that was to come. If this movie hadn't have been as good as it was,
Right.
we would not be where we are today.
Straight up.
They
This
talk
kicked it
about
off.
the Battle of New York so much. Battle of New York, Battle of New York.
Well,
Like,
and-
it's like engraved in a history book now. Like I think Battle of New York actually happened.
Well,
like,
and for those of you who haven't watched a lot of the other movies or haven't watched like the Marvel TV shows, they reference the Battle of New York as if it literally rocked the world.
Right.
It
Which
did.
I suppose
which
it
is
did.
so cool.
Mhm.
I think that's so fantastic
did
because
rock the
in
world.
other parts of like movies, it's just kind of like, oh yeah, something happened. They like pretend it wasn't there.
Right.
But literally every Marvel show from this moment on has talked about the Battle of New York in some
That's
way
where
or
all
another.
the kids, and I like the scene at the end where they're showing, just the humans like worshiping, like, oh yeah, Captain America, oh yeah, Hulk, like wearing all the shirts and stuff like that. And even the government starts to be like, listen, y'all destroyed the city, you better fix it.
Yeah, no, it's
Things like that. It's kind of where it all begins.
That's very unique. It's a really good world building. Like if the Jurassic Park movies aren't going like, man, remember when this all went wrong in the 90s? We should have learned our lesson then. No,
Right?
they
Wouldn't that have
never-
been nice? Wouldn't that have been freaking nice? But do you remember even like what year did Spider-Man come out?
I believe that was 2015,
Homecoming,
Yeah,
2016, I think.
2016,
it was recent.
2017.
It wasn't that long ago. I forget, like 2 or 3 Marvel movies come out in a year.
Yeah,
It literally, I want to say I was pregnant when that came out.
I think it was July 2017. Yep.
Okay, so
You said 2015.
I know.
it feels like a
right.
long time ago. But
Got it
so
wrong.
A
so
lot's
think
happened.
about. I mean, we're not talking about Spider-Man, but Spider-Man came out in 2017, and
year
it
ago.
revolves around the events of
The
this
Battle of
movie,
New York, yeah.
the Battle of New York. Obviously, it's years later, but if the Battle of New York hadn't happened, then the main events in Spider-Man would not have come to
And then
fruition.
also
Right.
just a lot of alien tech stems from this movie because
Yes.
obviously the Chitauri just left stuff everywhere.
they just died
Just
on the
made a
street.
big old
So,
mess.
people. This is where a lot of the all this alien tech starts to
Yeah.
come into play and
Yeah.
new villains, and it just gets crazy.
Well, and that's how I think Tony is able to. Well, Tony and Bruce Banner and all of them together are able to come up with
Science
even
bros.
better, even better tech for themselves
Right, yes.
because they're able to see, like, take a look into alien weaponry, and it's really cool to see how their suits and all of their stuff evolve over time
Yeah.
too. Because even Tony Stark seems very rudimentary in comparison to what we saw in like Infinity War.
I will only say that the only thing I miss Captain's shield. I miss it.
Yeah.
They could bring it back.
It's literally only been missing for one movie.
Yeah. I will say though that one thing I do miss, this movie had it, the other one didn't, is I like the opening scene better, and I know Luis does too. I like how the opening, literally when Marvel pops up, and it's like the flipping of
Oh,
like
yes.
the comic book pages versus then like their faces.
Right.
It's I think that's a little corny.
It's like the classic one, but I like the new one because I like the music. Well, I like the theme song.
All right, peeps.
Luis.
Peeps, I give it a 9. It was pretty good, like I said.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Is a
It's
9
the
a pretty
first
good?
time that all of these characters were brought into a movie, and that just kind of opened the door for my fandom. So 9.
Yeah, dude.
That was
Yeah.
very nice,
Bum,
Lou.
bum,
Succinct.
bum, bum. We didn't even talk about that song.
Boom, boom,
It needs no explanation.
What
It's-
are
it's
we
the Marvel
doing next week?
Well, whoa! I guess you're just stopping our song then,
Wait,
Andre.
wait.
That
I
was
have a
rude.
story while you guys are looking for next week about the song.
I already know what next
So
week
I work with children,
is. Do you?
and
Have you?
we got to go on a
Never
field
mentioned
trip
that
to the
before.
mall, and they got to buy a video game from GameStop.
This was
and they,
funny.
they bought Lego Marvel Avengers, right?
Mhm.
And so then we were playing it at work, and then I just don't realize, like, to me, I didn't grow up with these kind of movies, but like kids these days, they know what Marvel is. They know what superheroes are, right? So when the Lego Marvel Avengers video game starts, it still has that song in it, right? The dun 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 dun. It still has it. And there was one kid, and he was so excited, and they just started singing it, the whole thing, and the kid's like 7. And I'm like, he knows every Marvel song, and he's 7 years old.
Yeah,
But
dude.
they're like, Marvel is so. I remember the first time we went to Disneyland together, Andre was like losing his mind because kids were running around the parks dressed up like superheroes, not princesses necessarily. Like we saw a lot of kids dressed up like superheroes, and he was like, "Oh man, it's so cool!" Like
Well, and
that's
think
how
about
it is
it.
now.
Their Ariel, their Mulan, their Pocahontas is Marvel
All
characters.
superheroes, yeah.
Yeah,
That is so crazy, and
Oh.
it's really cool.
because all
What a
these
time
princesses
to
are
be
like
alive.
already there. Like
What a
yes, they got Frozen and like Tangled. But it's Marvel for them, you know.
And
Well,
now
think
as the female superheroes popping in, bye-bye princesses. It's all about kicking
Oh,
butt
true,
now.
For the Halloween party, we didn't go last year, but we were in the parks around that time, and there was a little girl dressed up like Black Widow
Oh,
with like
yeah.
the red wig, and I was like, "Oh, get it, girl!" Like she was so cute.
Yep,
Yeah, dude.
it's true. All right, friends, you ready for next week?
Yes.
What's happening? What's happening?
What's going
happening?
down
You
next
ready?
week?
You ready?
What's happening is a soundtrack. Yeah,
Yeah, what?
because this movie.
The soundtrack for The Black Panther.
Oh, I thought we were doing a different one next week.
No, but it also has some really good songs.
Oh,
on
we're doing
this
Black
soundtrack.
Panther
We
next
are
week?
watching
There.
2018's Black
Oh,
Panther.
dude, I thought we were doing a different movie. I'm so excited.
Directed
now.
by Ryan Coogler.
Y'all wanted it, and we kept saying, nah, it's too recent. But
Yeah.
FYI, y'all need to see it.
It's
if you
not
haven't
too
already seen it.
recent. We
This might
gotta
be-
watch it again.
Will this be like the newest movie we've ever done?
It will.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't done Coco, and I feel like that was the
That's
newest.
right.
For a
Andre
long
and I have
time.
only seen Black Panther once.
which is
Once.
Only once time.
Only once time. Once.
which is hilarious because we own it and we've seen it multiple times.
Yeah.
We're
Y'all
gonna
wanna
watch it
right
multiple
now?
times, probably though.
Oh
No, we gotta go see Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Sucks to suck. I'm gonna watch it right now.
Andre's gonna lose his mind if we don't go see Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I will.
So-
Yes, so please join us next week when we talk about the Black Panther.
The Black Panther.
Yeah.
Vibranium.
Wakanda.
That'll be actually really fun to be
Wakanda.
able to talk about like the vibranium and how that kind of plays into what we saw in this movie too.
Exactamundo.
All right, guys.
You guys, stay tuned for all of our announcements and stuff. We are at the Walt Vault Pod on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Hit us up there. Send us a message in our DMs. We may read it on the show. Or you can send us an email to contact@thewaltvaultpod.com. You know I like those. If you want to support us, you can do that in several ways. You can go to the Walt Vault on any podcast platform out there. We're on Stitcher, Google Play, Google Podcast, which is a new app. You can download that. YouTube and iTunes. And on iTunes, we'd like you to give us a rating and a review. 5 stars is my favorite kind of rating. And, you know, good stuff. My favorite kind of review. That's one way to help us. You can also go to thewaltvaultpod.com/Amazon. If you click the link, you'll shop on Amazon like normal. And we get a small portion of whatever you purchase at no additional cost to you. So that helps us out. And you can also go to our Patreon and become a patron. For as little as $1 or more a month, you can support us and get access to our after show, A Crack in the Vault, where we talk about some of the more adult aspects of these movies. I also have been posting my notes that I take while watching these movies. Those are pretty fun. Check those out on patreon.com/thewaltvault. You guys, that's it for now. We will see you next week for some Black Panther goodness. The vault is now closed.